this is what's great about Cirque. There are no limits, are there? When they sit down and come up with these shows, it seems to me they have a blank piece of paper and virtually an unlimited budget to create something like that. Who else would be bothered to have to go through that twice a night?
Well, imagine it. There's like 2 levels of this show. You have the show above the ground, what you see, us, the makeup and lights and stuff, the ones that get applauded for. And then you have twice as many people underneath doing more exciting things for me than the things happening on stage sometimes. I wish they would sell a ticket beneath and see what's going on, because it really is a ballet. It's absolutely crazy. And these guys are like not only amazing on the spot, but they're some of the best welders and carpenters and riggers in the world. I mean, to sit down at a conversation, every time I do, I just feel like an idiot.
Right, and you sit there in the audience just wondering what's going on backstage, because it is so enormous again. And then I ask myself questions like, is there some massive airbag? Is there somebody catching you? Because you're falling from what seems like 35,000 feet, and you get up and do it again 3 hours later. I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah, we use nets and airbags, of course. But yeah, the technicians, they're brilliant, you know. Without them, we couldn't do this show. Like, it's amazing what they do.
And of course, then we have the Cirque magic of the music and the lighting, which segues so beautifully between scene to scene to scene, often from enormous to very small. And that's so clever. Do you enjoy it as much as we do on stage visually? Because it's so moving. The way that they contrast the lights from scene to scene is so clever. How do you view it? Are you in the moment? Are you watching the show in your own mind's eye? Tell me how it feels when you're on that enormous stage.
Well, there's 2 things. First of all, to comment on the music. The music happens below the show for the most part. There's a studio for both the percussionist and the bass player, and then with all the other instruments, the band leader and the cello and everything. And it happens in a room not much bigger than the one we're sitting in here right now. And when you're up above and your audience listening to it, it sounds like there is an entire orchestra sitting underneath there. So that is the magic. And one of the things that's happening right now is one of the girls and singers in our show is currently out, and you don't notice it until they're gone. And when they're gone, you can really tell that there's this empty, have a backups track for it and sing through it, but they really can notice that. And that is one of the finer points of the show, is that it really does come down just the human people. It always gets overshined by this giant stage and all the lighting and everything, but when you look at it deeply, it's the people that are underneath the stage, on the stage, performing on the stage, are the musicians. And that's one of the things, the best thing about it. I completely lost what you said to me, what your question was, because that's kind of what I do normally. It's the ADD, light kind of thing, but you know.
You did absolutely fine, and I've not mentioned your hat once.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say that. You have the perfect face for radio.
Indeed I do. We normally talk in the summer. I'm going to move on swiftly and talk back to you because you're more attractive. We normally talk in the summer when it's 700 degrees, and I mention your hat because, I mean, today it's like -2 here. It's really cold. This is England cold, isn't it?
It really is, yeah, and people don't think it gets this cold in Vegas, but it's cold.
I always am amazed for performers how it must affect the way you feel, because, I mean, you're going to ache more if it's colder, and if you're a vocalist in the summer, it's going to be really hard to sing if it's 120 degrees. Does it bother you, or have you found a way of getting through it?
It doesn't bother me too much. It actually affects, like, the stage. If it's raining, the stage is sticky, like the humidity affects the bungees. So for sure it affects the show a lot. But me, I mean, it affects me walking from the car park into work because I'm freezing. But other than that, no, not really.
And I always talk about the food and this town of joy and excess and all of that stuff, the flamboyance of it. Do you get involved in the strip, or are you one of these performers that just leaves the show, goes home and lives a normal life?
I was one of these performers. I would say if you talk to, I did a poll between the performers on the strip, 95% of them just leave the strip. The only time we come down to the strip is when we're performing or if our friends come into town. And then we get those giant like drinks shaped as the Eiffel Tower and walk around kind of half blind, you know, just to fit in. And that's just the way it is, you know. There's a lot of, Vegas is pretty cool. It's known for the strip, but there's a lot of cool stuff off the strip. There's the ocean 4 hours away, you got mountains everywhere. So that's the kind of lifestyle most of us live, I think.
I think what this show does as well, I know this sounds a bit cheesy, but I went out Wednesday to the Grand Canyon and took a helicopter ride and all of that. And this really is what you should do when you come here, because you realise there's enormous beauty within seconds of the strip itself. And this show kind of does that as well. It makes you realise a sort of perspective. I don't know whether you know what I'm talking about, but it makes you realize actually nothing matters. That, you know, you see that big stage and you realize your life is so unimportant. So many people have put such work into that, and you go to the canyon and you realize we're nothing. And that's, again, the magic of this show, isn't it? It is anthemic. It's epic.
Yeah, and actually what's cool is they let us watch the show every so often. All of the artists, like one by one, we'll have a day where we're out of the show and we can watch, which is really cool because sometimes, you know, you forget. Like, I mean, every night we're in it and we see it on the TV screen backstage, but it's not like sitting in the audience and seeing it for real. And it's really nice to see that and remember, like, what you're a part of and how cool it is.
And then, of course, every scene more or less crescendos towards this big ending, which I'm not going to give away, but it is nothing short of spectacular. Have you ever been set on fire by one of those fireworks?
No, but I've dodged a few. I'm a little faster than the rest of them. My clown character doesn't really look like that, but I am really probably the fastest one in the show, so yeah.
It's good for avoiding the targets,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
Well, you just dodge and duck and dodge and duck, you know, kind of like dodgeball.
And the question I've got to ask, from a geeky point of view, every time I come, the one scene I don't like, it makes me too nervous, is those two guys who go around that thing. I'm not going to give it away. Do they ever fall off? Because it looks like they're very close to falling off.
No, they can't. They can't ever fall off. Like, it's not an option, and they will never fall off. Like,
because it looks like they come close, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they're so good that they make you think they're about to fall off, but they're not. They're totally in control. They've been doing it forever, and I
don't like it. Can you get that taken out of the show? It's the only bit I don't like because it makes me nervous.
Sure, yeah, we've been trying to do that, but they have a contract, and that's why they're still here. They're both of them have been they're brothers. They've been brothers their entire lives.
Really?
Yeah. Well, they took a month off in the mid '80s, but now they're back to being brothers. And what they do is it's no short, like you said, of amazing. Their combined ages together is actually over 165 years old, which no one knows that.
That's incredible.
I know. They look so young too.
They really should be in the Guinness Book of Records, shouldn't they?
We're looking at that as well. But
to be 84 and a half and still going around on that big thing
is another group out of Lithuania that are the average age is 87, but we're not sure if one of them is actually a brother.
Isn't that the thing about show business? There's always someone chasing your tail, isn't there? No matter how old you are, there's somebody coming in older.
Yeah, nonstop. Imagine chasing your tail, running around in a wheel.
Right. Imagine being David Copperfield and seeing Chris Angel down the end of the strip. I mean, it's enough to send you insane.
I don't know why he doesn't make him disappear.
Hey, listen, I've loved talking to you both. I like you very much. And I like you as well. Good luck with the baby. Say hi to your other half. And thank you so much for talking to me again. What are we now? 4:45. What happens next?
I have trainings, workout.
Oh, how dull.
I know. Upper body workout.
Come to the buffet with me.
I wish I could. And then I'll do my makeup and then I'll be ready for the show.
You're here at the MGM Grand, which has to be one of the most famous in the world. I mean, if you asked 100 people, name a hotel, I'm sure they'd say this one. To be here in this show, on this scale of production, must be amazing. Do you still pinch yourself and think, I'm the luckiest guy in the world?
It's funny that you said that. The MGM itself, it's kind of like this attitude when you're walking into work. MGM is this older place, an older hotel, and you walk in and you come into a badass show in a badass hotel. Yeah, it's every day. I mean, and at the end of the day, they applaud for when you go home. Like, when is the last time that happens, you know?
I haven't had the clap in years.
Me neither.
Exactly. Not since the 80s. Send our love to our 165-year-old brothers.
Will do.
And congratulations on the MGM Grand as well. I must give them a mention. I just checked into my room upstairs, and they've renovated many of them, and the rooms are divine. I mean, you've got everything. A beautiful room, great restaurants. Joel Robuchon just outside here. I don't know whether you've ever eaten in there. I have never had a better meal in my life ever, seriously.
Yeah, awesome. It's a pretty awesome place to come into work. It's fantastic.